Good evening, movie night. This is movie night review here with Kenya Lynham, and it is movie night review number 204 called Morse Code. It's a short film called Morse Code, and it's a horror movie. So let's get into the review. So pretty much, there's a young lady who her friend has passed. She goes to seek counseling because every time she goes past the street, she has memories of her friend and she feels that she may be the blame. Okay. So what they used to do is flashlights when they were in their childhood days. They used to flashlights to each other to not wake up her friend's father who's in the other room. And so they just kind of talk in that manner of Morse code, which is flashing of lights and knowing there's like a phonetic system or alphabetic system they go by to spell out what they're talking about. All right. So her friend has passed since then, and she's gone through grief or fear again about it. All right. And the counselor says, I guess she's consoling her, all right? But when she goes back to her house, she sees that her friend is now flashing lights. So this is where the horror movie comes in. She lures her into her house across from her as the lights are flashing, but everything else is flashing at the same time too, and reminding her that she's the blame of her death. And then she comes back and says, I don't think you are to blame. Literally, just stop blaming yourself. All right? So that's the whole thing. But the subject for tonight is pretty baby. Now, if I were a pretty baby, nobody would see me grown. All right? But if I was a grown pretty, nobody would be calling me a baby. So making fun of people isn't the way to go. And then we don't want to lead ourselves to our deathbed because somebody has already said something to us that feels more that part than the other, but away from people. All right? Because if people are dead around me, I only recognize that they've said pretty baby too many times and they need to recall or remember themselves as an adult who is just more that, all right? So other than that, pretty baby is a saying. It's derogatory to an adult because you've grown up and now somebody wants you to be the same thing as you were back then. But instead of replaying the whole thing, they come back and say, pretty baby, and they keep doing it over and over and over again. This is the way to go. Get the person out of the vicinity. Make sure they say all their syllables before they go to vibrate with you, because they're not really saying pretty baby either. They're saying fuck off, or they're saying something like that. But if it's very, very, very in the dark area, yes. So when they say it, turn the light off, turn it back on, and say to yourself, you'll never do the Morse code for some dead friend. You'll always do it for the one who is pretty adult and who is alive. You don't want them dead around you. So, of course, how would you know that? They spend money and they spend time and they rhythm the whole thing that you guys came together for in the first place. All right? So no more pretty baby.